It is only you, therefore, who have made the request outrageous. See, the fellow who's been being loving all week and is finally getting to the thing he's been looking forward to doing for himself all week, finds his partner's request for a little loving attention and for him to be the recipient of affection. He finds that to be outrageous. Outrageous. Offensive. It is only you, therefore, who have made the request outrageous. You see? But not the divine one that you are. The one listening to the voice for fear. The ego. And who is engaged in selfishness. It is only you, therefore, who have made the request outrageous, for nothing can be asked of you. What does that mean? You might understand it better because I know you can see that Paul does not think anything is being asked of him by virtue of your being here, eager to hear. But if things go normally, 10 minutes after this meeting is over, if you come to ask Paul a question, he will think you're asking it of him. And he may or may not be happy about answering it. But nothing can be asked of him, even though all of you find yourself appearing to be asked of. But it will only look that way and be experienced that way by you if you are not joined. If you're not connecting with your birthright again. It is only you, therefore, who have made the request outrageous, for nothing can be asked of you, and every request of a brother is for you. I just told you a moment ago that everything in creation looks to you for the recognition of God in it. All your brother can be is present for you, whether he's whining or whether he's laughing with joy. Because what's really there is part of creation inviting you to see what it really is, to find God there, which you have to make a choice to see. And you make the choice to see it by choosing which teacher, which voice you're listening to. Holy Spirit, what is really happening here? What is God's truth here? What is God being here? Again, it is only you, therefore, who have made the request, any request, outrageous, for nothing can be asked of you, and every request of a brother is for you. It's on your behalf. It's asking you to reflect back what they aren't able to see yet that is causing them to feel lack. Have you ever heard anyone who says, well, I know this is exactly the way things are? Or who speaks in declarative sentences, who later you find out was using that form of speech as a question, which had never occurred to you was a question, until perhaps someone else says, well, you know, this is the way I have experienced what you're talking about, and it's a little bit different from what you're saying. And after this different view has been expressed, the person who had made this declarative pronouncement says, I really appreciate that because it never occurred to me to look at it that way before. Thank you. You had come to the conclusion that the declaration was a final pronouncement, a firm position, and it wasn't. It was a way of opening up a conversation that lacked any invitation to it because it was made as a statement, as a declaration. You see? Again, you therefore, who have made the request outrageous, you therefore, who have made the request outrageous. It is only you, therefore, who have made the request outrageous. For nothing can be asked of you, and every request of a brother is for you. Why would you insist in denying him? For to do so is to deny yourself and impoverish both. Now, I've gone over that so many times, it's got to be clear to you. Here it is. He is asking for salvation, as you are. Well, it sure didn't sound like he was asking for salvation to me. Sounded to me like he was making an absolute pronouncement of the immovability of a problem he was in that there was no way out of. No. Got to use the art of contrary thinking. It's either love or a call for love. He is asking for salvation as you are. Poverty is of the ego, something which doesn't even exist, and none of you should be laboring under the domination of. Poverty is of the ego and never of God. In other words, poverty is of the voice for fear and never of the voice for truth. No outrageous request can be made of one who recognizes what is valuable and wants to accept nothing else. Now, there are times in gatherings when people speak to me in a challenging or obtuse way, and Paul may cringe a little bit and have to take a moment to once again join with me, because that's the only thing that matters. Not the manner in which the question was asked, not the challenging words that were used in the way the question was asked. That doesn't matter. And he takes the time to get back to what matters. And then that which clarifies comes forth. He recognizes what is valuable and wants to accept nothing else. Salvation. Why are we talking about salvation? Because your brother is asking for salvation, no matter what he says or how he behaves, just as you are. Salvation is for the mind, and it is attained through what? Peace. the ego is incapable of being at peace or of experiencing peace. The only peace it can ever seem to arrive at is drug-induced, or ultimately unconsciousness, or ultimately death. Salvation is for the mind, and it is attained through peace. This is the only thing that can be saved. See, we had up at the top of the page here, the question is always twofold. First, what is to be saved? And second, how can it be saved? Salvation is for the mind, and it is attained through peace. This is the only thing that can be saved, and the only way to save it. Any response other than love arises from a confusion about the what and the how of salvation. And this is the only answer. Never lose sight of this. See? Still talking about getting your own head on straight. You never lose sight of this. And never allow yourself to believe, even for an instant, that there is another answer. Well, you already do believe there is another answer. But you've got to start disbelieving it. And the other answer you think there is the one you can come up with all by yourself. And sometimes the answer is to shut your brother up and be relieved of the problem so that you can have some peace to do some irrelevant thing you want to do. Irrelevant because it's private. It's exclusive. It doesn't embrace. It doesn't involve. Never lose sight of this, and never allow yourself to believe, even for an instant, that there is another answer. And so when I've said during the week, watch for the times when you are offended, it's to help you see that here is an instant where offense is not an appropriate other answer to being joined and to be in your peace. For you will surely place yourself among the poor, who do not understand that they dwell in abundance and that salvation is come. You can't teach what you haven't learned. You can't grace your brother with help that you haven't incorporated. And I promise you that every bit of work you do, so to speak, every bit of diligence you bring to your week, of watching the use to which you're putting your mind, so that it isn't willy-nilly running in consonance with the voice for fear. Will bring you into better alignment with your real nature and your real mind and your real being. And as you do that, you lessen the density of the mutual agreement. You lessen the density of the dream. And it does help your brother. But for now, helping your brother starts with you. And it starts with you doing that which spontaneously precipitates sudden shifts of perception that change you forever. Another meat and potatoes evening. I have enjoyed being with you. And I look forward to being with you all next week. Have an unoffended week.